All right, everybody, let me know if you can see me now. I apologize. I had to take a phone call. Unfortunately, I have to do this before the holidays tomorrow, but my youngest wanted to say hi to everybody. I'm sure some of you know her. This is Elise. You want to say hi?
Hi.
You show them how you throw tomatoes? Yeah. You want to give them some love? Give them a heart? Yeah, there you go. Good girl.
Oh, my mom tied.
All right. Oh, she just gave everybody a hug. All right, baby, go watch your show.
Bye, guys.
She says, bye, guys. She's so cute. I love her so much. Okay, so there are some things that need to be addressed. I can't even believe some of the things that I have been told that have been brought to my attention and that I myself have noticed on the community pages, on my mom's page, people posting on behalf of her and behalf of my family. And if anyone wants to come on panel, they can. Some of you are aware of what's been going on just because I've had some conversations. And some of you are just finding out. But I'm going to get down to the tax and brass of this, or brass and tax, or however it goes, because I don't have a lot of time. Like I said, the holidays are tomorrow. I don't want to keep everybody for too long. But I have suspicions that there is a third party accepting donations in my family's behalf. And I don't believe that all of the donations have been sent to my family. So first and foremost, I want to ask anybody and everybody who has been overly gracious enough to send any amount of monetary donation, send me a screenshot of your donation on what app it was. And I want to make sure that I can confirm that for you. And then I will have the actual amount that was or was not donated to my family in time. I also want to state that we never asked, my family, myself, my mother, we never asked for money. There was just such an outpouring that of people who wanted to help. And there was nothing that they could have done at the time. And honestly, it was something that was just suggested to me to start a donation. And the donation's purpose was and is to pay back my grandmother. Okay. My grandmother, of course, and without question, supplied all of the money needed to pay for my mother's cremation costs. That was paid in full the day that we went to the Neptune Society, which is the place that we chose because they were the place that cremated my grandfather and that my grandmother has her burial plan with. I lost my place a little bit. I apologize. There's a lot of things I want to cover. I really should have written it down. But it was to pay back my grandmother. And she did it, of course, that's her daughter. That is her oldest child. And unfortunately, it's not the order of things for us to outlive our children. And she has to go through that. It was a large and very sudden, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware, expense that, we never expected to have at all. I mean, at least not this soon. But all of the donations that have been made to my direct accounts are tallied, totaled, and are going to be pulled to give to my grandmother. Nothing has been used for anything else. I pay my own bills. My sister pays her own bills. My grandma's still paying her bills. The money is going to my grandmother to pay back the $2,100 and some odd dollars and change that it cost us to do this for my mother, as was her last wish. So just first and foremost, let's get that out of the way. That was the point of the donations, was there was an outpouring of people who wanted to help, and we started the donation to pay back my grandmother. You are very right, Arctic, and that's great. I'm glad that you're here specifically too, because I feel like you were dragged in and under the misinformation. So I'm glad you're here. But the Neptune Society is the cremation center that was chosen, again, because they cremated my grandfather. My grandmother has a plan to be cremated through them. My mother wanted that. They do not, under any circumstances, give third parties or anybody who is not a member of the family information about anything, about whether or not the cremation was paid in full, whether or not they even are going there for cremation or the client's information. None of that. They don't give out information to third parties. So anybody who is not myself or my grandmother would not get information. Hold on one second. What's up, baby?
Have one more.
No, you've already had 2. That's enough. I'm going to get this done, and then we can go. Okay, go on. Go get a snack. Go get applesauce.
What can I get?
You can get an applesauce. Get off the camera.
That's all?
Pardon me 1 second. I have to pause this. Oh, I can't pause it. I don't know how to do that.
Is that all you want?
1 moment. I'm going to mute. I apologize. She is adorable, but she is so stubborn. I wonder where she gets it from. So the Neptune Society does not give out information. Unless it was myself or my grandmother, nobody got information. I know it for a fact. And I know exactly who called the Neptune Society, but I will not say their name. I am giving them the chance to watch this live and to contact me. I'm giving them the chance to enter the panel if they are watching the live, because I find it very strange that the information they were giving out was that they spoke directly to the Neptune Society. No, they didn't. Lie number 1. I also had contact with this person or persons, and suddenly contact dropped. There was no speaking to me, and they claimed they were speaking to my sister. As I'm sure everybody is aware, or if you've ever experienced a loss in your life, whether or not it was your parents, your child, your friend, a family member, or you just, an acquaintance or coworker, there is a grieving that's involved with that. I have said before, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunate. I have the ability to get what needs to be done. And when I am alone, I get to grieve. I am just as wrecked as my sister, but my sister is not capable to do this. She cannot speak with you all. She cannot even talk to her best friends. As far as I'm aware, after confronting this issue with my sister, she has not spoken to said persons in that, may or may not be at fault, or may or may not have done this. And until, unfortunately, I have the screenshots of the people who have made donations to confirm them on my half of donations, I can't tell whether or not or how much this has occurred for fact. But they claimed that they were speaking to my sister. My sister did not speak to them. Lie number 2. I also find it very strange that when I myself or the people that I asked to help me correct the misinformation that was being spread did so, things were suddenly deleted. Posts on Facebook were suddenly deleted, posts on YouTube, comments on YouTube, video, all of that. And I'm sure all of you know that my mother said two things. One, people are going to show you who you are or who they are. Believe them. And two, if you ain't got nothing to hide, what you deleting? What are you hiding for? I'm right here. Okay. I am my mother's voice now. And this pisses me off. The thought that I even have to go through this after what I thought was a show of kindness has me livid. To a point where this is fully my mother giving me the grace and the patience to try to discuss this. But man, I'm pissed. And as a warning, if this did happen, I know where this person lives and I will go there. So let's not, okay? Let's fucking not. So I've caught this person in several lies. And the worst part is that it's not just me. There have been people on my mother's behalf who truly loved and truly supported her and are supporting me and my family during this time. And I am growing to love each and every one of you. Not saying that these specific people told me anything, but just saying like I'm growing attached to Dutch and Alta and Widow and Matt and it's a really long name, but I can't think of it, so I'm sorry, but Dion. There's a number of people that, I mean, my mother loved, and I mean, I've spoken to people that she fought for, people that just watched her, people she supported, people that she helped start channels or was their first subscriber or those types of things. And as I've said multiple times, and I will continue saying as I hold her page alive, it's immeasurable. The amount of relief and stuff that I feel speaking to you guys, it's like her still being in the room, and it's something I will never be able to pay back. Ever. I'm just so grateful, really. And my mother was very loved, and it's very nice to know and see and have that presence available to me while I'm going through this, while my family is going through this. I tell when I speak to you guys, I tell my family, I talk to my sister every day. I tell her, what everybody's saying. I tell my grandmother, and it's like there's light in her eyes again for a little bit, just we watch her lives, and we see you guys grieving too. And it's like, we're not alone. And that means so much. So the fact that somebody could even go through or possibly even just the smallest amount take during this time, or from somebody that was so great, disgusts me, breaks my heart, pisses me off, and it needs to be stopped. There was a comment that was made on one of my updates where I snapped off, and I just want to take a second to appreciate everybody for backing me up, because I basically told that person to go fuck themselves, and I'd do it again. But there's one person in particular right now that I also want to address while I wait. Because I have a feeling that all of you will be just as mad as I am over this. Okay, and I should I should also say, since I am receiving screenshots from people who donated, thank you very much for actively starting on that. It's going to be such a big help in the next, upcoming days trying to figure this out. Please make sure that you also send me your name on whatever app it was. So for example, and I hope that this is okay. Arctic, I have your screenshot. I appreciate it. I see the amount. I see that it was sent, to her Cash App. And I won't disclose either of those things, but I cannot see your name. I just have the screenshot in your chat. So just to confirm, I just want your name as well. That it is on whatever app that you sent it on for everybody going forward, so that I can message you and let you know that I received it. So Arctic, rest easy. You don't have to do that. I do have that here, and I appreciate it. I also yep. Okay. Thank you. Gotcha, guys. Keep that coming in. Keep that coming in for me. I really, really need it. But there is one person in particular that I absolutely want to call out so fucking bad, because it was brought to my attention that somebody, a supporter and somebody who truly loved my mother, sent a heads up to this person. I really just want to say their name. I really fucking do. But I feel like this is something that I can handle with another creator that was a friend of my mom's. And sir, I think you know who you are. But a supporter of my mother's informed somebody else that my mother was passing away. And this is exactly what was responded. And I'm not jumping into the drama that I've heard that has been tossed around between this person and several others, but the fact that this person in particular speaks to the other person, or the persons that I believe are responsible for stealing from my family, if they have, again, because I have to put the if in there because my mom is telling me to, just causes me a lot of, okay, here's the message. I know you don't care for checking, but she is dying, was what the supporter said. And this other party said, sure she is. Believe that when I see it for sure. No mistake, the documentary was over last week and she was made a fool of, and she was about to get a lot of hate. I was literally waiting to hear she was dying. Yeah, sure. Redacted, is texting me right now. FYI, these streets get hard for backstabbers, and you definitely chose the wrong two bitches to play against each other. Honey, if you're watching, you know who the fuck you are, and if I ever catch you, ever, I'm coming for that ass, okay? How dare you speak so poorly on the dead? And you really think that any vendetta you had against my mother made it appropriate to say that you were waiting to hear she was dying? Honey, bring it to me. I will send you my name, my address. I ain't scared. I'm a fucking Briere, and you do not know who the hell you're messing with, okay? And that's all I'm going to say about that. My mother's supporters and everybody else can do as they wish with that. And I hope they fucking attack you, because as soon as the parties responsible step forward with an explanation, and you have 3 days to do so, by the way, I am giving you 3 days by my mother's fucking grace to clear up this misinformation, because you know who you are. If by the end of that 3 days, you haven't spoken to me or made amends on all of the platforms that you spread the misinformation on, I'm calling you out. I'm sharing your shit, and you're gonna fucking get it. Period. I am disgusted. And the fact that you two talk makes me all the more suspicious, okay? So some of you know who I'm talking about. Thanks, Stitching, for putting that in there. And some of you don't, but it's absolutely not gonna, no, it's not a thing. It's fucking scumbag. Exactly. It is the worst of the worst for you to say something like that. What a horrible human being you are. So I need to take a breath for a minute. And if anybody wants to come up and just chit chat for a bit or ask any questions, or if anybody honestly has any concerns, I'll try to pay attention to the chat right now and I will answer any questions. And I will I just need to take a little bit of a break because I'm getting too worked up about it. I'm really fucking mad and I'm really fucking disgusted. And as much as I really just want to say their names right now, they know who they are and they have 3 days. And that's all they have. Because after 3 days, I'm going to schedule a live when I get off of here and their names are going to be told and I'm going to put it out there and that's it. And then my mother's army can take care of them because I don't feed into it. I'm going to call you out and I'm going to fucking find you. And that's going to be the end of it. I'm sorry. I'm just going to try and catch up on a couple of messages here. Okay. All right. I see you. So I'm going to have Ripper come up. I'm not sure how to send you the link from here. Maybe I'm just going to put it up. Oops. Oh, so that's how you do that. That's cool. That's great. Awesome. I got your thing there. I'm still learning all this, so I apologize. And I think I understood that you're ready to come up on my panel. So it's just going to be me and Ripper for a moment. I'm going to copy and put the link down in the chat here because that's the only way I know how to do it. And I do want to just address a comment real quick from Sapricop. They can use it as threatening. It is a threat. You stole from my family, and if you stole from my family, it is fully a threat. I am not afraid. Go ahead. All right, I'm going to bring Ripper up.
What's good, Georgia?
Hi, it's so nice to officially meet you. Sorry it has to be through this bullshit.
Well, I guess it is what it is when you have trolls out there that just can't resist opening their filthy mouths.
Yeah, and preying on people that are going through such terrible things. Like, you are gotta be kidding me. First and foremost, before anything, I really do also want to thank you for having my back with that commenter the other day. You really got them, and I appreciate it. And whatever you have on them, if they want to open their mouths, let's go.
Yeah, I keep waiting for them to respond, but they're going to be really, really stupid to respond, because if they do, I'm just going to go full blown crazy on their ass, because
Absolutely.
they shouldn't be talking about anybody, and the stuff that they said was so out of line. I was just like, what in the world is happening?
Right.
It's and this stuff that you just talked about, that's crazy, and I'm sorry that you have to deal with that, because just going through the loss is bad enough, but then add in people trolling and saying crap like that. It's
unnecessary.
Yeah, it's just it
It's
brings
sad.
out the worst in people.
It really does.
And I would assume that your mom would probably just say ignore the trolls, like just ignore them.
She really would.
Yeah, and sometimes it is better to ignore them, because the problem with that stuff is it's in your heart. Like, you think about it and you go to bed, you wake up, and you're living with it.
Yeah.
And it's just not good to live with that negative crap. Like,
No.
even if you tell yourself, okay, I'm not going to let it bother me, it's still there. Like it's still affecting your everyday life. So it is better just to ignore them. I was trying to think how many times I'd seen your mom in chats. Her and Richard, Eric Jose saying, ignore the trolls. Don't feed the trolls. Don't feed the trolls. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how many times they would say that. So this might be one of those times where I don't know. It was hard for me to ignore the statement that I saw the
Yeah.
other day. You know,
And
I
so
was,
far, that was the only one that really, I mean, you got to have balls to say something like that. She was the only one that had said something like that. And honestly, I would ignore all of everything else. No problem. My only thing is this party that is responsible was not only speaking misinformation and spreading it fluidly, actively, quickly, but they they put on that face and they seemed like they were somebody who was so genuine because I mean, I have my mom's phone. You can't tell me shit, Like I know
you
who
know
talks
everything.
what. I know.
Mm-hmm.
And this person seemed very genuine, which is why I trusted them in the first place. And when they sent flowers and everything to my mom, Arctic was, signed on that. So I definitely had, trust because my mom loves Arctic. They've had
Mm-hmm.
multiple videos together
Absolutely.
and Arctic, like I said earlier, I absolutely am not holding anything against you. I believe that you were just fed misinformation and led along as much as I was. But my mom was somebody, and oh gosh, I can't believe you brought up Eric Cozy. It makes me so like emotional. I miss him. He was so wonderful.
He was. He drove me crazy, but he was a good. He had a good heart. Right?
Yeah.
There were times I was like, oh my god, this guy's driving me crazy. Which is why I told him to start a YouTube channel because he kept bothering me like, hey, have you seen this about the case and this and this? You should make a video about this. And I was just like,
Do it.
dude, you should do your own channel and talk about all this. But yeah, Eric Jose had a good heart and he was a good person. And him and your mom are probably there's no telling what they're doing right now.
Yeah, you don't want to know. I don't want to know. but yeah, it's definitely a don't feed the trolls. It's definitely a rise above negativity. Rise above anybody who's trying to attack you. Be the bigger person. Take the higher road. I was raised like that. My mother lived that. I try to live that. But I also have a lot of my father in me too. And that's just a whole lot of smack a bitch down.
Yeah. Well, there's a time when people cross the line and that person a few days ago, they did cross the line and then I was like, okay, who is this? And then for them to use their I don't want to say their name, but it wasn't that hard to find out who they were.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, oh man, this person should not be talking shit because there's quite a bit of stuff on them that it didn't take me long to find. And, I was just like, well, we'll see what happens. But if they pop back in, I've got another one waiting for them. So hopefully they don't. Hopefully they got the message and they'll leave you alone.
I really hope so. And I actually do have to go back and see what their tag was because that message I read earlier, I'm wondering if it's not from that person because the message that I read was a straight text message. So I have their full, their government name.
Uh-huh.
I'm not about doxing anybody.
Yeah, this person, of course, it's from the UK. The one that I addressed the other day.
Yep.
So,
no, then it's not the person that sent that message and said that, that I'm waiting for that. But that person has it coming a straight target on their back because how dare you? How dare you? I mean, and I read the messages too that corresponded with the hate that person had for my mother. So I was already upset. But again, I told myself, kind of what you were talking about is I'm not going to address it. My mom was graceful through the whole thing. She's like, I'm not doing anything to you. I wish you a good life. I wish you nothing but happiness. Stop with the messages. It's not necessary. throughout all of the attack, and this woman was just attacking my mom, and I'm like, wow, it sounds like you're really insecure with yourself, ma'am or sir.
Yeah, that's another thing when these people do these things. There's a lot going on in their life to be so miserable to talk about someone like this, especially someone that has passed away. Like their life has to be so fucked up that I mean, you read some of that stuff and I'm just like, where do they even come up with this? Like they have to have such a miserable life to have such hate for someone, especially someone who just passed away.
Yeah,
So, um,
it just gets crazy.
yeah, I see Arctic Fox's. I guess there was a misunderstanding. It
Yes.
looks like everything's worked out. Like he just had wrong information.
Yeah,
Or
and
so,
that's
yeah.
that's what I thought, from the beginning. And like I said, Arctic, when I started this and I saw you in the chat, I want you to know that when you posted the Facebook post on my mother's page and I commented under, at first when you deleted it after I commented, I was upset because I had that whole, why do you have something to hide mentality? But then I realized that I did ask you to remove that post because it was misinformation. So thank you for following through with that. Thank you so much for confirming with me your donation. Thank you so much for spending as much time as you did with my mother. She adored you, and I'm glad. That really makes me feel lighter because it was. I mean, if it was intentional, I'm sure that it would have been a stab in my mother's heart, but I felt it like a stab in my heart because I know how much my mom cared for you. And so I'm glad that that's cleared up. I thought the entire time that it was misinformation just being fed to you. So I'm glad that, we can just bypass all of that. All is forgiven, all is well. Do not ever worry about that. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And this,
I would be really shocked if
yeah,
Arctic Fox, because they did do a lot of videos together, and I mean they talked a lot behind the scenes too. So that would be pretty shocking and wouldn't fit the personality of someone that's trying to help
exactly.
missing kids out there. Like that just wouldn't.
Exactly.
Uh, yeah, that wouldn't fit. But
And like I said, show the phone. I've got the receipts and I see it and I know the call logs and all of that. So I'm really glad that was cleared up. And that's, why I wanted to do this live tonight is because I wanted to make sure that, the responsible parties had a chance to come forward and,
mm-hmm.
any misinformation that was, maybe just assumed by me or others talking to me to get me aware of the situation, was taken care of and really done. Cause I'm very forward, to say it gently. And if I think that somebody has a problem, the first thing I want to do is address it. And
I got to tell you a story about your mom's phone. It reminds me when I've lived in Oklahoma. I moved back to Oklahoma like 12 or 13 years ago. But before that, I lived in Kansas City for 20 years. And I had an insurance guy in Kansas City, same insurance guy for like the whole time I lived up there, 20 years. And so when I moved back to Oklahoma, I had to cancel my, I did like homeowners and car insurance with this one agent for 20 years, but they didn't cover Oklahoma. So I moved back, canceled it. And then just a couple of years ago, I was texting, every now and then I'll just text random people on my phone that I haven't talked to in a long time.
yeah,
And I texted him. And I was like, hey, Larry, how's it going? Long time no talk, blah, blah, blah. And the next day I got a text back and it said, hi, I'm sorry. This is Larry's wife. But Larry passed away like 4 years ago.
oh,
But I never knew. But I said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I said, why do you have his phone? And she said, for people like you that don't know. She goes, I bet once a month I get a text from someone who didn't know that he passed. So I just keep it and it's like a part of him with me. So I don't know how long you plan on keeping your mom's phone active, but I would assume down the road people are going to text and talk to her. Sorry about that.
No, no.
Talk to her or think they're talking to her, but it's really not
And
her.
that's funny because I had a moment before I ever, because my mother and I had spoken on this before she passed, and she wanted me to take over her accounts and stuff and keep them up for her. And I had a moment before I ever logged on or tried to respond or do anything under her accounts because I didn't want anybody to think that she didn't
Oh, that
really
was
know.
her.
Right.
That,
And or
yeah.
it's a morbid thing to think about like that. Stop going in my face, please. And it was scary for me. And so I've told so many people when I first started doing this, like it's me, it's not her. I'm sorry if this is like hard for you. But I have just today, actually, this morning, I had somebody who had sent a message and they didn't know yet. So I tell them, and I was like, man, I think I'm going to keep her phone on for a little longer than I thought.
So let me ask you. This is a personal question, but hold on before I ask you. Who's this? Who do I see on the screen?
This little angel here is my stoic baby. This is my youngest, Elise Joyce.
I'm 6 years old.
And
You're how old? 6?
Yep.
You're 6. Like 6.5 or just 6?
Fully 6.
Fully 6. Okay.
Same.
And what's your name? What's your first name?
No, almost 7.
You're 7?
Almost.
Almost 7. Okay. So
after Christmas is my birthday.
you really are. What? When's your birthday?
3 days after Christmas.
Okay. So December 28th.
Yes.
Okay. So where do you work at?
Me?
No.
Oh,
This-
you.
Yeah. Where do you work at? If you're 6, you're old enough to work. You're what?
I'm getting a job.
You're not getting a job. What do you mean you're not getting a job? You're old. You're 6 years old. That's old enough to, especially if you're fully 6, almost 7. That's old enough to work.
She said, I'm working on getting a job.
Oh, you're working. Okay, so do you have your resume?
Job.
What kind of job? What kind of job are you working on?
Grocery store?
I'm trying to work on any job I can do.
Any job you can do. What? Okay. What about like a doctor? Do you think maybe you could be a doctor?
That's kind of what I want to do.
Oh, you want to be
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. What kind of doctor?
an animal doctor or a human doctor?
Everything doctor.
An everything doctor. Oh boy.
An animal doctor and a human doctor.
Okay. Well, some human doctors probably do work on some animals that are human, but maybe we shouldn't talk about that kind of stuff. But okay, so you're going to be 7 in like 38 days.
My birthday is 3 days after the Christmas time.
Right. What's today? The 22nd or the 23rd? So 35 or 36 days, you're going to have a birthday. And I expect by then, by the time you're 7, you have a job. Right?
Actually, that might not happen. I might have to work to 7. I've been working on getting a job my whole entire life.
You have? Where have you applied? Where have you applied to get a job at?
To a doctor's office and a veterinarian area.
You've applied at a doctor's office to get a job?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
They're still seeing my church.
You-
Even though I don't have an ID yet, I have to still working on telling them it. So
You are so smart.
You have quite the imagination. So you don't have an ID yet. Do you have a driver's license?
nope,
Nope.
I can't
that-
have a car yet.
That would count as an ID. So how many different doctor offices have you applied at?
A veterinarian and a doctor's office. I hope they don't have to make me a nurse.
I think if you would have applied at a doctor's office, they would have surely called you by now and offered you a job.
Right? You're so qualified.
Actually, they have, but
Oh,
We're
really?
not fibbing now. We're not fibbing.
Uh-huh. You have quite the imagination. My goodness.
All right, you. Can you?
Okay, so what was your name again? What was your first name?
What's your name?
Elise, and
El-
then it's Joyce, then it's
Elise?
Only your
Joyce.
first and middle name, honey.
Yeah, Elise. How do you spell it?
Elise,
Okay.
lowercase e.
Okay, Elise.
And it's
Elise,
Joyce and Cameron.
well, my name is Jack,
See your last name.
and I am not 6 years old. I'm just a little bit older, but it was very nice to meet you.
You
Dr. Elise. I'll just start calling you Dr. Elise.
say, Dr. Ellie. Okay, Stoic. You say thank you to everybody. You say hi. They're all telling you how cute you are in here.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, look, so sweet. She's so sweet. Hey, mister, I'm taking my birthday off. My
Alright.
God, you're famous.
Yep. Good job throwing those tomatoes. Give the hearts.
Hey, you have your front teeth? You have both of your front teeth? Are those your permanent ones?
Nope, you got to come back here if you want to show them.
Did you lose your front teeth a couple of years ago? Those are your big ones, aren't they?
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, kiddo.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Back in a few minutes.
Oh, no, you won't, ma'am. Go on.
on.
Can you have what?
Okay, I want to ask personal. When you got the message and you had to tell them that, hey, this is not Linda. Like, how like mentally, like when you're telling someone that, like, would you like? Did you have to sit there and think about it before you sent them the message back to let them know? I'm
Yeah.
talking about when you're. Yeah, because I just wondered, like, I thought about when I texted my old insurance agent, his wife texted me back the next day, and I thought, man, I wonder if she sat there and was like, had to think about it, or if she just kept his phone in a drawer and just, but I didn't want to ask her, I didn't want to say, hey, how come you waited? But I've always wondered, but I didn't want to ask her.
First of all, there's no such thing as a personal question with me. I'm an open book. It's
Okay.
just whatever chapter you feel like reading. But it was kind of, because it's so fresh still, it was kind of like a heart sinking feeling. Because obviously, it's not good news, and it doesn't feel good to, give bad news. But at the same time, it's nice to have that clarification, and, whoever it is, I don't want them out there thinking that my mom forgot about them.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where it was kind of a bittersweet moment. It was a bittersweet feeling. And I'm sure I'll have a few of those to come. There's still quite a few people that are just finding out, and that's all right. It happens.
Yeah, it's so sad. Because if you read the messages when I talked to her last, I was telling her about some mushrooms that work really well with certain types of the C word. I'm not going to say it because they'll YouTube doesn't like that word, but I had no idea that like it happened like so fast. I had no idea. And then a week or two ago, whenever, like, Nosy sent me a message like, hey, like, it's really bad. There's not much time. I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my, I had no idea it happened so fast. It just seemed like it was so fast.
That was one of the things that really bothered me about the people speaking, or the people that, kind of caused me to have this live, is they said, oh, well, we knew for so long, and she had a suspicion for so long. And it was like, no, she didn't. Our family had no time to catch up with or even embrace the fact that she was about to go on this battle. She was diagnosed on October 8th, and I was there. I was the one that took her. I mean, I was at her house every day taking care of her, when I wasn't with my kids, or, those types of things that really have the urgency to walk away from my mom in that moment. But we didn't know. She was diagnosed on the 8th, and then all of a sudden it was in her liver, and they weren't sure what
Mm-mm.
stage it was at. And then all of a sudden she had liver failure, and it
Mm-mm.
was from there. It was not long. It was so quick, and I guess that being the worst part because we didn't have as much time as we thought, not only to inform the rest of our family and everything like that, but that we thought we had time, to
Mm-hmm.
for her to beat it. And if there was anybody that I thought could beat the C word, it would definitely be my mom.
That's why I thought too. I was like, I can't believe of all the people. Like, I just had it in the back of my head that, oh, she'll just kick ass. Like,
Yep.
it's not going to take her. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess you just can't take anything for granted. You
Yeah, and
know.
that, and that's something that not only was it so fast, and we felt like we had time and stuff like that, so we weren't really kind of doing the uh, proper steps that we could have done to brace ourselves for that final transition. Um, but it also, like, the how fast it happened was um, kind of hard for us to accept because we thought maybe my mom knew in her own way, um, but looking back, of course, because hindsight is 2020, um, we noticed that there were things that were changing in her body and we couldn't figure it out, but she refused to go to the doctor. She was so against going that we would
Mm.
have to, like, honestly knock her out, tie her to a dolly, and get her to go.
So
um,
what kind of thing? Like, was she getting tired a lot, or like what kind of signs?
she's very active in my daughter's lives. Here you go, honey.
Thanks, Mama.
You're welcome. She's very active and has been very active, Nana, in both of
Mm-hmm.
my daughter's lives. And she started to kind of take them less because her energy was lower. I'm
Mm.
sure anybody who went to the Making a Murder rallies for Brendan Dassey and Stephen Avery, from the first one that she went to with Allie and Denise and Ericosi and Stacy and everybody. She was loud, she was active, she was partying, she was cooking, she was having a great time. And this last rally that she went to, there's even footage in her tribute videos where she's sitting on the ground and making, a big old megaphone out of paper or poster. And it just wasn't like her. So she did start to sleep more. She did have a lot more complaints, and she would just brush it off and say, "Oh, it's like it must be fibromyalgia," or "Oh, I'm getting old,"
Getting
or
old,
yeah.
right?
And it's just she needed those moments more often, and
Mm.
she kind of before her diagnosis on the 8th of this year, which was the big one. Um, she was getting sicker more. She had a lot more headaches, and she was, oh, I got a cough today, or oh, I threw up and I'm not sure why. And we just couldn't. We just chalked it up to a bad flu, and so there were signs now looking
Mm.
back. But how long it lasted or what the cause was is, still a mystery.
So you don't know when, like, how long she had been battling it. Like,
I
it
think I think the biggest indication we have for how long she would have been battling it is in February of this year. She brought it to our attention that she had found a lump in her breast. Um, and she was pretty scared about it. And I took her to the emergency room, and they just pointed us in the direction of, the center and um, of the breast center. And she was like, go here and they can diagnose you. I don't think it's C wordorous,
mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. But it could be. So here you want to go talk to these people, but they never called us. And when we called them, they said they had no referral made. And it was just such a process that my mom eventually gave up because, again, she didn't like doctors. And then after that, her arm started to swell very badly, and we kind of made the joke about it being like her Michelin Man arm. But at that point, that's when we were all really concerned that it was breast cancer, or that it was. But the lump and her arm swelling, we were pretty positive. So when I finally got her to go back in, and really honestly, it wasn't even me convincing her. At that point, she was in so much pain already that she had said, "Hey, I can't call your sister to do this. I need you." And I have a medically trained background, so I'm sure that was a comfort for her. And just knowing that I handle these things a little bit better than my sister, she wanted me there to kind of be her strength too. And that's when it was confirmed. So I think the earliest warning that we had was in February.
Right.
So it could have been, just this year she was doing, it could have been last year when all of the signs kind of started to show, but.
Right. But so she went, and then they never, the medical facility never followed up. It was like, hey, like, have you gone? Like, they didn't follow up to, yeah, so that's a problem with the medical world. Like, they treat people like cattle, like get them in and out as fast as you can, and they don't have time to do follow-ups. And you're like, hey, this could be an issue. Did you go? Like, did you have it checked out? And if so, what was the result? So we can, complete your file to find out what it was. But yeah, they just don't do that. And that's sad.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, having worked in the medical field, it's hard to say, but I think after COVID, it really changed the field in itself, and people after, the mass deaths and everything, and whether or not you're a believer is not what I'm discussing here. You're allowed to believe whatever you want.
Right.
But the fact is, there were people dying.
That's right. Yeah.
And it really changed the field and the people that are in the field, and the need for them to do the proper screenings and the proper education. And you can see it. It's rampant today. It's awful. It's terrible.
Yeah.
And
my wife is a nurse.
So you understand. Very well.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a hectic mess. The medical world is right now. Yeah, it's just bad. It's bad. So, Arctic said he's not doing lives, but he's posting videos, because I've seen videos. Hey, I wanted to ask, all right, you're going to drive down to Florida eventually, right? That's your plan?
Yes. I did say it briefly before, but I do want to make it known now that I have a good majority of you here that I will be probably with my sister. Maybe my grandmother and my uncle will accompany us. I'm not sure, but we will be bringing my mother's ashes after they're put into the proper. My mom wanted myself, my sister, and my grandmother to have necklaces.
Right. I heard you say that.
So after that is all said and done, the remainder of her ashes are going to be put into the ocean in Florida along her favorite beach when she lived down there. So we're going to go do that. And then I did want, along the way, if anybody wants to, just kind of their final farewell or even join us down there, they are more than welcome.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Do you know what your route is? Because I know that Arctic Fox is not far from me. I'm north of Tulsa.
Okay.
And Allie is in Arkansas.
Oh, Allie is a stop. Allie is a whole stop for me.
Yeah, so if you're going to go that way, then I think Allie, Arctic, and I can all meet somewhere in that area. Because Allie's probably, 3 or 4 hours from me, maybe. But that's not that bad of a drive. But if you do decide to go that route, I would love to come over and meet.
Yeah.
Meet you all and
I would be honored, honestly. My mother would absolutely love it. Allie is for sure for me. I have to see her. I've been talking to her as long as my mom's been on YouTube, and she and I, we have a really great relationship. And Becca actually was able to come and she picked up my mom to go to the last rally that she went to. So, she's met some of my family, but I didn't personally get to meet her. So I would love to personally give her a hug for everything. And
Yeah.
as
Allie's
I,
good people.
yep, my mother, we're planning to do her celebration of life in the next 2 weeks. It's kind of hard to get it in between the holidays, but we are planning to do it in the next 2 weeks. I will have it live streamed. So anybody
Nice.
who wants to join, I'll be putting that information as the date gets closer with times. Um,
Good.
and then as we get closer to the trip down to Florida, which I'm assuming is going to be next year, just because here in Minnesota, it gets real cold and the snow gets real deep and it's hard to
Mhm.
travel. But as we get closer to that and we confirm who's going, I do want to put that information out and put that kind of record the journey for her, her last vacation. And I want to have a video put together for that. And I would love for as many people in her circle to be a part of that. So
Yeah, I think that would be nice to do a video, maybe some live streams of the. I mean, heck, if you just put it in the windshield and just turn it on and just we'll
yeah,
just ride along with you.
yep.
You know, I
And
think that would be nice.
I think that that's what my mother would have wanted, because she spoke of wanting so badly to go and put her toes back in the ocean before everything, but it just happened so fast that,
Mm.
before she came or before she got too bad, we had discussed, what if you can't go to Florida? And she's like, you spread my ashes there. And I said, okay. And, where do you want it done? And, are you sure? And we confirmed everything together and we had long conversations on it. And she did say that she wanted me to let you guys be a part of her celebration of life, because we're not allowed to cry. Gotta have drinks. We gotta have fun because she's just on vacation. But that's how she believed in death, was everybody was going on vacation. So, but
Yeah,
she did say she wanted you guys to be a part of it. So I think that it's only appropriate that we all record that last journey and are a part of it, as many of us as possible, for her.
yeah, and nobody can cry. Yeah, okay. I
Well,
mean,
and that's what I said.
I
I was like, good fucking luck.
yeah, I'm like, sure. I mean, because even Eric Jose's like, I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. Just like, I was like, it's so sad. And
Oh,
I never met him. Like, he was going to come to my place. And then just right before he was going to leave, something happened where he couldn't make it. Actually, I think the car rental place wouldn't rent him a car or something stupid like that. But it was still sad.
yeah,
You watch these people for years and you communicate with them, and then all of a sudden, well, like him, it was just, you
gone.
know, yeah, I'm just like, probably a week before I was complaining about how he drove me crazy, and then he's gone. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's just
It's
horrible.
it's unreal how quick. And that's something that my mom always wanted to impress upon us, was cherish the moments that you have.
Hmm.
Never leave angry with somebody. Whether or not you're fighting, spitting in each other's faces, hug that person and tell them you love them if you really truly do, because you never know when your last moments are going to be.
It's true. It's so true.
I mean,
Yeah.
Eric Cozy, he and I bonded over his Doctor Who channel. I love that too. And so we bonded over that. We had, our own little conversations. So when my mom told me that he passed as sudden as he did, I cried, and I never got to meet him in person like my mom did.
Yeah.
Um, but it's also at the same time, he was so close to my mom. Like you said, you talk to each other, you get to know somebody over a certain amount of years. They become a part of your life, whether or not they're here physically. And it's it's surreal.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sad. So, and someone just brought up Ziggy and Denise. I forgot about Ziggy and Denise. Like I was just like, oh my gosh, it's just
Denise, oh man, Denise would crack up. Me and my, if I was jumping in on like randomly on my mom's lives and they were hanging out, Denise was like, "You guys need a comedy show. The two of you just need to go on tour. You guys are hilarious." And she, I was really upset to hear that she passed too. I cried when she passed as well, and that's that's something that I'm glad I still have Allie for, because when my mom first started, that was kind of like her little clique right there. It
hmm
was Jinx and Eric Cozy, Denise, Allie, my mom, and Awen. And now that they're all like gone, and it's hard. I mean, obviously not Jinx. I'm not sure whatever happened with Awen, but me and Allie, having Allie is so great, and she's the whole reason, honestly, that I agreed to do this for my mom and take over her channel, is because I knew that Allie was the one that pushed my mom to get up and do this. And my mom made a family out of you guys. And if it wasn't for her being so close to me and me having that connection with her, I would probably be like, oh, social anxiety, bye. Okay. I'll just type every now and again. But
So hey, is Arctic Fox still in the chat? Um,
I'm not sure.
I want to
Arctic, can you
bring.
let us know
Can
if
we
you're
bring Arctic on? He's been on your panel before, right? Just like
um,
last week.
no, he didn't make it to the panel, but he was in the chat. He's been active in the chat really nicely. But I do know that the people that I believe are responsible for this, unfortunately, instead of stepping in here, are doing their own live right now, which speaks volumes to me. But
Really
yeah,
interesting.
interesting. Um,
That's very interesting.
Arctic is here.
Yeah, I see. I see right there. What I want is Arctic. How far are you from Tulsa? That's what I wanted to know. How far? I don't think he's that far from Tulsa, because I'm like 30, 35 minutes from Tulsa, north of Tulsa. Um, but I'm just curious how close. Because I think, is Arctic live in Arkansas or Oklahoma? Do you
I'm
know?
I'm not sure.
I think Oklahoma, but
I thought it
I,
was Oklahoma,
I think so too. I think so too. So I'm
but
waiting to
I
see.
could be wrong. And I also don't. Oh,
Uh,
it is okay. About two and a
two
half.
2.5 hours. That's a lot further than I thought it was. But and Allie's not. Allie hadn't been in the chat.
I haven't seen her in the chat, but I did speak with her earlier today. I don't have any message from her
She's
right
probably
now.
scared to come on because I'm here. You know.
Oh, why?
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was gonna
I'm
say
kidding.
why.
No, I like Allie. I like her. She's good people. So, um,
I'm sorry. I'm just trying. I'm getting information on
car show.
what I had
Okay,
just
so
mentioned.
all right, Arctic Fox lives in the same town as Allie. So that's I believe that would be Arkansas. Interesting. All right, that's cool. Oh, Sapper Cop's in the chat. What's up, Sapper Cop? Been a long time since I've seen Sapper Cop
Actually,
or
yeah.
talked to. Of
Speaking
course,
to Stafford to respond, yes, they are. They are live right now.
yeah.
And apparently they're saying that proof will be provided. Well, I just think that it's really interesting and really funny that you're not coming to this page to clear up your name and you're going
Anything?
over there. I
Yeah.
think that
Um,
speaks volumes to me. But like I said, whether or not it's going to be true, whatever proof that they have, I will have proof, because I have people sending me their confirmations and I can check those and let them know that it did get to me. But if there's anything that's not counted for, enough said.
it will eventually all come out in the wash. Um,
Exactly. And the best part is I don't have to focus so much on it after this, because I have a bunch of people who were on my mother's side and loved her very deeply, like yourself, who are handling this for me. And that makes my life so much easier right now, because I wasn't going to look back at this until, the next 3 days. I was just going to spend the time with my family. And
yeah, you really you really need to focus on like your family and yourself and all of this other stuff.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Um, yeah, and I mean, it will all come out in the wash. And if you're wrong or someone else is wrong, then people just need to apologize. Be like, look,
Yeah,
I was
I'm
wrong. I
and I am
mean,
not above that. If I am wrong, I will absolutely admit my mistakes. Um, I don't have. I'm not sending them clicks. I'm not sending them views. I'm not sending them
mhm.
bad vibes. If I am wrong, I apologize. But like I said, there are just suspicions that come up that I couldn't ignore and I wanted addressed because I am a very forward person. Can you have some lemonade? Yes.
Are you 7? Are you 7 years old yet?
Are you 7 yet? No, then you can't have no lemonade.
No. Oh my gosh.
Lemonade's for 7-year-olds only.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, ma'am.
Nuh-uh.
Mhm.
It's too late in the evening to drink lemonade, isn't it? You know what? Look, I have some lemonade right here. It's cherry limeade lemon.
And you got a fruit punch, so it looks real familiar. Go drink your fruit punch, babe. I'm almost done, okay?
All right, I'm going to say hi to Dark Side. I saw Dark Side of the Moon in the chat. Becca Chu. I haven't been on YouTube in a long, long time.
Well, I definitely appreciate you
I
coming
kind
up.
of retired from YouTube really, but I am working on something else. But I told my wife, I said I don't need to go back on YouTube unless it's for a special something special. But your mom, I had always planned on going on her channel because I'd never been on her channel as like a guest, and this is not the way I wanted to do
No.
it. But
Well, you're always welcome on her channel.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, it won't be her or probably much of the talks that she stood for. I'm not very well versed in those types of things, but if you ever want to talk or interview or anything like that, I'm here. I'm an open book, like I said.
Yeah, and I did see. I think it was last week. You were putting the link in the um, in the chat, and I was like, oh man, I could just pop right in there. But I wasn't. I wasn't like at a place where I could pop in. But I was like, oh man, it'd be fun to just pop in. But,
My grandmother is watching right now. Hi, Grandma.
oh,
I love you.
hi, Grandma.
I'm doing what she wanted me to do. Look at me.
So man, there's a lot of familiar people in there. Sean Maroney in the chat. There's a lot. Alice. There's a lot of good people in the chat.
Yeah, and a lot of them, have reached out to me and extended their condolences, and yet have made me laugh and made me smile and shared the memories, and that's what means the most. And my grandmother's watching right now, and I'm sure that she'll agree that more than anything, that's what we need right now.
Yeah, you need good people. You need good people around you that will support you, and then when the trolls pop up, they'll put them in their place, so you don't have to mess with that crap.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I better go. Thank you so much for allowing me to pop in here. And next time you do one of these, if I'm available, I'll just pop in.
Yeah, I would love that.
If I can. And then
go, honey.
Thank you, everybody. Like everybody that's here watching that has supported Georgia and her family. Thank you all.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've said that, but people have been pretty supportive.
You talked with some of them too, so I appreciate you thanking them as well. It's you guys are all in this together, and now we're all in it with you, and that's a wonderfully beautiful thing, and I'm so grateful. And I will let you go, Ripper, and then I'm gonna probably close off this live.
Yeah, and don't let the trolls get to you too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's easy to say that, but don't let them get into your heart and come into your life like that.
And that's why we just had to do this, get it off my chest, bring it out, and then I will let fate handle it from here.
Yeah. All right, Susan, it's nice to see you too. Everybody else, it's nice to see you. Georgia, thank you for having me on here. I'm so sorry for your loss, and I mean, we all loved your mom. She was good people.
Yeah.
So with that, I got to say it because I haven't said it in a long time, but I'm Ripper, and I'm out. We'll see ya. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you so
Bye,
much.
everybody.
All right. I just want everybody in the live right now to throw a shit ton of tomatoes for my grandma. Sorry, my grandma watched my mouth. But light it up. Light it up. Show my grandma how much you guys loved her. Show her all of the support that you've been showing me. And grandma, I want you to know that Brendan's mom is watching, and she said hello. And Becca said that she loved meeting you, and you're so sweet. Scooby has said, sorry, a lot of love sent to you. There's a lot of people in the chat right now, Graham, that are letting you know that you're loved. Yeah, I have to, hold on. I got to get my phone so I can take a picture of this in case my grandma can't see the chat right now. I love you, Graham, but you're not that tech savvy. Teresa is my aunt and my uncle are, so maybe they can show her, but I'm gonna get a picture of it because it means a lot. Hold on here. Thank you so much, y'all. You are so wonderful. That's amazing. That touches on, makes me emotional. Got a few random. Okay. Robbie, are you still in the chat? Oh my gosh. Barb, you're so sweet. Barb Ann, if you want to do that, absolutely. I'll get back to your personal message. Thank you so much. I want, if Robbie is still in here, to know that I got his screenshot, and I'll be taking care of that too. I can confirm right now without even looking that I got that one, and can confirm that it is in the account. But now that all of that has been addressed, onto a lighter note, I just want anybody who is struggling or going through something or fighting anything or is sick or just, misguided in life or feeling alone, I want you to know that my mother loved you. You're not alone. You can do it. You are valued. You are valid. You are enough. Tomorrow being Thanksgiving, I want you all to know that myself, my family is very, very grateful for all of you, and all of you tomorrow will be in our thoughts. I hope that everybody has a place to go tomorrow. And if you don't, like I said, if you feel alone, whatever it is, my mom is with you. And I hope you have a wonderful holiday. I hope that you, do a kind thing for somebody. If you have the ability to, if not, just a kind word, tell somebody you like their smile. Tomorrow is all about just being grateful, whether you're grateful for somebody or something, or, something you did, that's great. Just spread it around, be grateful. Yeah, I can't think. I can't think of anything else. I feel like everything else was pretty much addressed in the live. I've said my piece. I'm sending you all my love. I am sending you all my gratitude. And keep sharing, keep sharing the tributes to my mom, the videos, the songs, send them to me, send them to her phone. I love reading your guys' messages. I love listening to the songs that remind you guys of her. And I've been replaying her lives and her videos just to hear her voice. So keep it going. That's what she would have want, just do all of that. We just real quick, I want to adjust Justice Jane. You may or may not have been here earlier, but there is no funeral. We are doing a celebration of life. The donations were for my grandmother to pay my grandmother back for the cost because it was sudden and large. We never asked for anything. There were so many of you that had an outpouring. And you can go ahead and replay the live if you feel you need any more information or details. But that's the only answer I have now. I mean, I addressed it earlier, and I don't mean to be rude in any way. I can't go over it again. It took a lot just to do this. And for anybody who has sent messages on Discord, I'm so sorry. I'm not Discord savvy at all. I literally use Discord for my small group of high school friends that I still have, and we're nerds and we play Warhammer and Dungeons and Dragons. So I have like that group only on Discord, and that's the only way I know how to use it. Maybe I'll get more savvy. I've kind of tried to look at the messages that are pouring in on Discord, but I can't. So I'm figuring out YouTube. I'm figuring out Facebook. I know Facebook, but I'm figuring out how she did it. And I'm just going to try and do the best I can. Justice, she did call the society, but they are not and have not released any information that is not to myself or my grandmother. So, and I have confirmation from them that that was the name given, that was the person who called, and they had to tell, she only called one time. But there's a reason you're confused, and that's because it's untrue. There was misinformation that was spread. So this live was to give them the opportunity to come on here. And like, I said with Ripper earlier, maybe you weren't here, but I found it real funny that you feel the need to go on your own channel and make your own live instead of coming here. But yeah, Bling is not wrong. If you go back to the beginning of this current live, you'll see where my confusion is. And I will finish this up right now, just because I do have my youngest and I have to go take care of her, and I have messages to respond to, and I have a holiday to prepare for, just like all of you. So with all of the love in my heart, with all of my thanks and all of my family's thanks, I appreciate everybody hearing my side. If I am wrong in any sense of the word, I am more than willing to apologize, but I haven't said anything slanderous to the best of my knowledge. I have looked into it. I have, the facts from not only the Cremation Society, but also from multiple people and things like that. So, I mean, it is what it is, and it will be what it will be. But a happy, happy, happy Thanksgiving to everybody tomorrow. Spend time with your loved ones. Be grateful. Tell them you love them. You never know when your last minutes are going to be. Just try to be better. Just wake up, and I'm proud of you, because sometimes that's all we have in us. And hopefully I will see you guys soon on a much better note. I plan to do another live where we're just remembering my mom together, and everybody and all is welcome. So light it up one more time in the chat. I love you all, and I hope you have a fantastic night. Thank you so much for coming.